Okay, so we finally watched a good movie.
We did.
Right?
It was good.
I took like 2 pages of notes. We were just laughing about how I said they needed only 2 pages of notes.
Yeah, I took way fewer notes this time as well.
This movie fucking ruled, though.
I
Did
agree.
it, though?
Did it, though? That's we're going to answer that question.
All right, fuck it. Let's go.
Let's go.
My fingers on the keyboard had little minds of their own. I was rolling along, writing my usual scathing but civilized comments, and suddenly a sinister inner force took over, and I found myself typing, and I quote, "I hated this movie. Hated this movie. Hated every simply stupid, vacant, audience-absorbing moment of it," unquote, and so on. Altogether, I used the word hated 10 times.
Fast.
5.
What's the German word for what's German 5?
Schneller 5.
Schneller 5.
Schneller 5.
Holy shit.
Schneller 5.
So, like...
Welcome to the Non-Essential Fountains podcast, episode 5, starring Lyndon and Emily Ehlers.
This is it.
This is it.
We've made it to the good movies.
We have.
I mean, like, legitimately, I think, like, I'm just gonna forward. I'm gonna go forward, and I'm just gonna say, like, this movie was bumpy and rough and clunkety and a chitty bang bang shit going on.
It was amazing. How many times that I was like, oh, some chitty bang bang shit.
But it was. I felt like it was more just taking me for a ride and letting me have fun.
But
rather than like treating me like I'm a fucking dumb stupid idiot. You know what I mean?
Well, the other thing with this movie is it came out in 2011, so at this point things are looking more quote modern unquote, and the way people carry themselves is more modern to like how we would act today in 2023.
Just even as a movie.
Yeah.
I mean, like, as a movie, it feels like something I recognize, which is weird because I'm 35. I've watched a lot of movies, but it is more recognizable as like a modern kind of blockbuster is what it looks like compared to the one before. Just a few years difference.
I agree as a 33-year-old bat.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, but I'm stoked now because we had an after credits scene.
Yeah,
we had
the stunts are ridiculous.
Well, we're finally into there's going to be this big wild, like, over the top action set piece at the end that you see in the trailer, but like, what the fuck is going on? And in this one, it's it's cars pulling a giant safe, which has been my favorite aspect of this is my favorite one so far.
Right. So this reminded me a lot of a non-British Italian Job that was a little more explosive. French Connection vibe.
You said that, and I was like Ocean's 11, kind of like the format is there. I mean, they were definitely taking that from. I mean, the Ocean's 11 movies had already been to like 3 or 4.
And, like, the whole premise of Italian Job is they cause a traffic jam.
Yeah.
So, and it's just all these like shenanigans to like get this like harebrained plan to work, like the safe. So that's why I thought of Italian.
And they
Job.
have to like change. They have to like change plans like right at the last minute, and it's like, and they do it perfectly.
Right.
But yeah. So, do you want to start?
Yeah, I can start.
Let's go. I'm fucking ready. I'm sorry. I've been waiting for this all fucking day.
You're much more energetic than the previous
We were at dinner,
one.
and I was just tapping my foot, thinking like, I just want to fucking talk about Fast 5. So
sorry, Mike. We had to come home and talk about Fast 5.
Love you, Mike. Wonderful to see you. Fast 5. So go ahead. Let's go.
Fun facts. Fast 5, also known as Fast and Furious 5, Rio Heist is the alternate title of the film. Which we will never call it that. It was had a theatrical release on April 29th, 2011. The director is Justin Lin, who also directed the 4th film and Tokyo Drift. Starring, we have the return of Vin Diesel once again, Paul Walker, Jordana Brewster, Ludacris comes back, Tyrese Gibson. So the gang is all here. And Dwayne Dwayne The Rock Johnson,
which is what I've been waiting for. I think that is the sign that these are like starting to be finally like worth watching.
Right. So, what do you think? Not without looking at my notebook. What do you think the budget was in 2011?
320 million.
Oh, not that high.
No.
Nope.
I'm being too generous. 250 million.
Lower.
200 million.
Lower.
175,000.
Lower.
175 million.
Lower.
Really?
Lower. 125 million was the budget.
Man, I need to take another gummy. That's okay.
So
does that seem low? Or is
the previous films were like 80 million. Hang on. I have my Fast 4 notes here. Okay, yeah, I was close. So Fast and Furious, or, Fast and Furious 4 had a budget of 85 million. So we got a little bit of an uptick here. It grossed $626 million at the box office.
It fucking earned every goddamn penny of it. Mm-hmm. It earned every goddamn penny of it.
It received praise for its action and performances of the actors. So this is kind of a first in the Fast and the Furious series where we see the actors getting praise and the story getting a little bit of praise. That was hazy. You're always going to have critics. Though,
I have some thoughts there.
Yeah, I do too. So... Vin Diesel, and I wrote this down because this was really cute when I read this. So he suggested that, a lot of the old characters be brought back. So, like Tyrese Gibson, like, Ludacris be brought back.
Yeah.
And reason for that is Vin Diesel said he just wants to have a lot of fun. Which I find that earnest and wonderful.
Well, one day you will have seen all of 3 of the Riddick movies, and you'll understand why he went back to these and just went, might as well have fun with it.
That's true.
So I can respect that to a degree.
So Universal wanted the Fast and the Furious series to be more like, like the Italian Job and French Connection. Yeah. So they started to stray away from films that are focused just on car culture and racing. Are you playing that?
Sorry, I hit the thing. I hit the sound pads. I'm sorry. Keep going.
Oh, okay, Butterfingers. Anyway, so Universal wanted the series to be, a little more action, like you said, Ocean's 11. Right. And they went on record to say that this is a transitional movie in the series, which means that less, Tokyo Drift stuff going on, more bank heists. More or less.
Makes sense. I mean, based on what's happening in the story, they really aren't going to be able to be like out in public racing.
That's also true. Yes. Yep. So I mean, that checks out too. So it was filmed in Brazil and Puerto Rico. And my favorite part of fun facts. So what else was in the theaters on or around April 29th, 2011? Are you ready?
Let's go.
So we have Rio. We have
didn't see it.
We have Medea's Big Happy Family.
Surprisingly, didn't see it.
We have Hoodwink 2, Hood vs. Evil.
Have not even heard of this.
The King's Speech, the PG-13 version.
Wonderful movie.
Yes, it is. I like that one.
Movie.
Scream 4, Insidious, and honorable mention because it was like already been in theaters for about 6 months. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1 because it released late in 2010.
6 months.
I know Harry Potter's still like
just a movie in a theater longer than a month now is crazy.
Yep. Yeah. So
6 months.
So now that your brains have shifted into 2011 mode as
Harry Potter. I'm sorry. Keep going.
Sorry. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
So those are all the fun facts I have. Did you have any other fun facts to share?
I didn't. So we found we bought this on Blu-ray
at Goodwill.
We found that, and I found a little guitar amp. It was perfect. I just think I want to buy them from now on. But I was excited because I paid less for it on Blu-ray at Goodwill than I would have on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
So no, I didn't look anything up.
Well, let's just jump right into the movie. Then.
Yeah. Let's do it.
All right. So it opens with the end of the 4th film where we see Dom being carted away on the prison bus, and then the gang's all here, in their suspicious, black vehicles all surrounding the bus.
It looks like the same exact highway that the last chase happened on in the first movie.
Yes.
Like I would
like identical. It's probably the same highway.
What prison is he going to?
I don't know.
Like
it looked just like desert
passing
California.
through the desert.
Yeah.
Like.
So Dom is going to jail. No chance of parole. Just sums up the end of the fourth film.
I at least I appreciate that they did that. They just said, fuck it, we're just going to break right into it from the last movie.
Right. And then, so the gang comes around, and then we have our first, like, giant, massive stunt. They flip
it's pretty cool.
the freaking bus.
Yeah, Paul Walker's car is heavier. It turns into a concrete fucking block.
And the bus flips over the car.
Yeah. This bus that is full of prisoners.
No, and I mean it flips and it flips and it flips.
It rolls. It's like you just rolled a hot dog like down your front steps, like, and
so
it
after
disintegrates.
After that, there's a news thing going on, and then there are like 26 high-risk inmates, are now loose in the desert somewhere. There were no fatalities, and all I wrote in my notes was like, yeah, okay, sure.
Yeah, how?
How?
Because it rolls. It's so violent. It's really cool. Yeah, because like he stops his car right in front of it at like an angle, and the bus driver's like, and like tries to turn it, and it flips. It is really cool. I mean, I've never seen a bus roll like that in a movie. It was cool. But yeah, nobody dies. I'm fucking sorry.
Nobody dies on this bus that is ancient and literally a tin can.
Yeah. And then like all these prisoners are like, they're all like handcuffed to like chains connected to the floors and shit. Mm-hmm. Like your limbs are gone.
Yeah.
In this scenario. Like they belong to the bus.
Mm-hmm. So after that, suddenly we get whiplashed into Brazil, and Vince is here. Vince comes back out of nowhere, and so we enter Vince's dumpy house in Brazil, and Vince was just kind of trying to explain where he was, what he was doing. Dom's just not very happy with him, so we are not family right now.
I just did the fact that they tried to bring Vince back, or tried, I mean they did, is so annoying because who cares? Mm-hmm. Like they try to make you care about that guy this whole movie, and I don't care about Vince.
And it wasn't clear what happened to him in the first movie after, when he was hanging off the truck. He was just like, it looked like he was dying, and I thought he died. It wasn't clear.
They don't tell you what happens, but he gets airlifted by paramedics. I mean, I guess it's best to assume that he made it, right? But there's not really a resolution for him beyond that in the first movie.
Correct.
But in this, it's just like, after all that stuff, they went down to South America, blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. I just don't care. This is like one of the weak parts of the movie where it's like, why stop trying to make me happy that Vince is back? Like he's an asshole the whole first movie.
Vince has like a wife or some significant other, and he has a child now, like a son named Nico, and you just see like this baby in a crib. And you see Mia keeps, doing things that imply that she's pregnant. Like she picks up the baby and looks at Paul Walker, and then like when she was like in the room with like Vince's like, wife or whatever, like she was like, I have to leave, excuse me. And then she put her hand over her mouth because she was going to go vomit from nausea,
Yeah, that's nausea. Always in movies. That's always the sign you're pregnant. You barf.
Yeah, you have to leave to go barf. So it's not outright that, the audience knows Mia's pregnant. Paul Walker doesn't know at this point. Oh yeah, Paul Walker's the dad. I guess I should specify that. That's important.
Yeah, they're together.
They're together.
And it none of it, does it ever make any impact on the movie at all? Like her being pregnant?
Yes and no, because of the family theme going on here.
That's what it is. Yep. The baby, the barely formed baby is the key.
As a plot device, no, it doesn't matter. I can't believe I'm gonna use the word motif for a Fast and the Furious film, but it did the motif of family and the whole recurring thing about family, and Paul Walker you know, he had a shitty dad, and he's like, I want to be a good dad.
That was
and Dom's
actually
like, you're gonna be a good dad.
That was actually a really good scene. I liked it, except Vin Diesel is like, I remember everything about my dad. Blah blah blah. Everything. I don't forget a thing about my dad. And Paul Walker's like, I don't remember anything about my dad. And Vin Diesel's like, like it's like his character. He's such a Dom Toretto is such a fucking Mary Sue.
Yeah, he really is.
Like I think, and if you don't know what that is, I mean, it essentially means he's just a character that never has an arc. He can do no wrong, essentially. Just
right.
Like I don't know. He doesn't. To me, he has no arc whatsoever in this movie. It's just.
Yeah, so we'll get to that too once we get to that in the film. But the next big scene is now we are on a train. So Paul Walker, Mia, and I don't know if Dom's with them right away. I don't think so.
Shows up. Well, he hasn't even
He's
showed
not there
up
yet.
to the movie
Right.
into the movie since the intro.
You're right. He wasn't in Brazil yet. So now we're gonna do a train heist because there's cars.
Well, yeah, because Vince is like, we've got a job, and you guys need money, and Dom is supposed to be there. He shows up
Later
at the start of it, kind of unannounced. He kind of has a dumb introduction. I wrote, Dom rolls up with no introduction ? Because it's like right as they're about to start this train heist, that was the only part of the movie I was kind of lost in. They don't really. There's like, there's some cars that we're gonna go steal.
Well,
they
didn't explain like why these cars are important yet. So
they're nice cars. I mean, at the audience at the point, you just like, you're just stealing these cars because they're
nice and they're probably
cars.
expensive.
Yeah.
But there's an alternate reason that they're stealing the cars.
Yeah.
So the one car has this like crazy expensive computer chip in it.
Yeah, it's a flash drive.
It's a flash drive.
It's basically just a flash drive.
And based in a drug lord who is the main antagonist of the film is after this computer chip, and he needs this car. So on this train heist, the gang. Well,
we don't even know that.
We don't even know who the gang is.
Well, we don't know we don't know about the chip yet.
No, but I'm explaining eventually this is what we find out, but it's not clear like why these cars yet, other than the reason that they're just cars. So
they're cars and we have to take them.
Exactly. So, a la Mad Max, so we have some of the gang roll up and start riding next to the train in like the jankiest, like modified looking dump truck you ever seen in your life.
It's pretty cool though.
It is cool.
I was like already enjoying the movie because it's sort of like this giant flatbed with like a huge suspension on it, and it's just like bounces around, and they're pulling up to this train to
saw the side of
it.
Well, off.
So they're riding along this train in this on this truck, this flatbed truck that is like jostling around next to train tracks in the desert.
Yeah.
And they're able to just cut like this straight line through the train, like with a torch.
Yeah, they had like plasma cutters.
Yeah,
is what they had.
It's fucking
because we'll get to that too, because the cops were like, "Find who sells a plasma cutter."
Well, that was actually that wasn't a bad idea, I thought.
So they're like, "Well, we have like 2 minutes to get all these cars out." So they saw the side of the train off with these plasma cutters, and they horizontally pull the car out onto the flatbed, in which it tilts back and the car in reverse dips down onto the ground, and you're like, what could go wrong when you're going 80 miles an hour?
It's not. They pulls it out sideways.
Yeah, that's what I meant, like kind of perpendicular.
Like,
it's hard to describe. Just look up the scene.
It looks like they would do so much damage to these cars because they're like launching them out the side of this train, and then they're like strapping out this truck, and then they get into it and they start it, drive it away, and do it again with the next car, and then keep going.
So Mia drives the car that has the chip in it, and she drives in the opposite direction of the quote rendezvous point unquote per Dom. Dom says go back to the house with that car.
That was already. That's why one thing I was confused about. Did Dom already know about the chip? Or like, why did he tell her to drive the other direction?
I think because wasn't the other car in the train with him, wasn't that his? And they took it? Like the other guys took it?
Oh.
I can't recall.
I don't know, but that doesn't explain why
unimportant. Anyway,
well,
so
I mean, it's not. It is kind of, because I don't understand why. Did they already know about the chip?
Listen, I watched this movie 48 hours ago. I couldn't tell you.
So, but yeah, then there's like a scuffle, and we get this action scene on the train.
Right.
So it's taking like 20 minutes for these like train U.S. Marshals or whoever they are to get to this.
So we have a gunfight, but quickly approaching is a bridge. Oh no! So I put gotta save Paul Walker from the bridge trademark. So so now there's a time crunch. And then we got, I think this is where The Rock comes into. No, he's not there for the scene. He's there for the investigation.
I'm not trying to go through every single scene. I mean, it's just like, when does he shows up? He shows up after the train. There's like a scene where he gets off of a plane, and that's like that's the introduction to The Rock, and he's like talks to that rookie and whatever. And then he shows up later on in the movie after the train heist, and he's like, "Oh, they use plasma cutters. Give me a list of everybody that sells tanks for plasma cutters or whatever."
Yeah, so this is important because then we see how much of a hard ass like this, group of cops
like
is.
Agent Hobbs.
Agent Hobbs.
Of Hobbs and Shaw, which is he's such a better character later on in these movies because he's so early The Rock.
Yeah, so The Rock is Hobbs. We finally meet him, and he selects an unusual teammate to assist him with this investigation. So it's this, like, she's like local PD or something, and she became an officer because her husband, passed away in like line of duty, I believe. So he sees like she's like very timid and stuff, and he's like, like, I like you and, like, you care. Like, you actually care. Like, and that's what... He doesn't say that, but that's what's implied.
Yeah.
And that can be confusing. But anyway.
Well, they imply that he knew about her background somehow?
Probably.
And that's why he took her, because he knew she wasn't going to be, like, corrupt.
Yeah. Yeah, that...
Does this movie actually have plot?
No.
No, it does. It does. But
it does, but it also doesn't. And... Because I got the impression that... He wanted her as a teammate because she was so passionate about her job, in honor of her husband. And he's like, well, that and the corrupt cop.
Well, that's what I was saying. That's what I figured it was because she would have he'd have plenty of reason to trust her because of that. Mm-hmm.
So those are going to be two important people to keep your thumb on here. Dom and Paul are eventually caught by our main antagonist, the drug lord, whose name is Reyes.
Reyes.
I can't.
Yeah, generic,
generic,
like South American name. Reyes. He seems he's at least like a somewhat. I'm not like intimidating, but they say he's basically they say he's the most powerful drug lord. He's the guy that owns Brazil, basically, which.
Yeah.
Is and he
I wrote generic boss man.
He is kind of generic, like he's like generic South American drug lord type, but at least the movie kind of sells you on that he is who he is within the movie. It's not like he's not like Cole Hauser in Too Fast, where it's like this guy is such a dweeb.
Yeah, this drug lord boss is far more believable than the one from the fourth film, and especially more believable than Cole Hauser. Especially more believable than the second
more so or less so than Schlubby Guy from
Well, Schlubby Guy was just
Fast.
Schlubby Guy reminded me just like Wile E. Coyote.
Oh yeah.
I just got.
He's kind of a Looney Tune.
Like Looney Tunes vibes.
Just a cartoon,
right?
In general.
This guy was. He was not about. He was all serious.
I mean,
no
I
Looney Tunes.
I think here's the best way I could say it. I at least understand what kind of villain he was supposed to be. Mm-hmm. Whether or not like it was cool or whatever, but like I at least can know what they were doing. Beyond other than when you look at the last few villains in these movies,
right? So Paul Walker and Dom eventually escape out of this whole interrogation thing.
They get grabbed by these guys.
Yeah, so drug lord guy threatens them because he's asking where the car that Mia drove off with is, and they're like, "No, we're not going to tell you." So they beat up generic henchmen.
I wrote down on this scene. I wrote down Vin Diesel can break free of any chains.
Yeah,
because he has the kick in the face from Paul Walker, and Vin Diesel just takes his wrists and goes, and just breaks out of these wrist chains.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, you'll see his incredible strength more later in the film when he has to fist fight The Rock, but we'll get to that.
Oh my god, the height difference.
So after Dom and Paul Walker escape, they reunite with Mia, and then we just kind of jump along here. So Drug Lord, generic boss man, finds out that they have escaped, and he's like, "What?" So now we're in a fancy office with a Dutch Renaissance painting hanging on the wall.
Yeah, it doesn't even look like it's in Brazil. Like,
it
looks like it's probably just some office.
It looks like
LA.
No, it looks like the Oval Office, but like.
But I mean, I guess it probably is if they filmed it all, over there. I probably just don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and
it was a really nice office.
And just one comment about it, it's like everything is just, solid wood. It's like very dark, very
moody. Like the table.
But there is a computer monitor on this guy's desk.
Oh, yeah.
Like this shitty Acer
2011.
2011. I know, but it's just...
It's got some back fat on it.
Oh, just I giggled at it, but in my mind I was just like, oh my god, this just looks awful.
Yeah. It's the best monitor money could buy at the time.
In 2011, just this Acer
he's the guy who owns Brazil.
Yeah,
and an Acer monitor.
So in the Oval Office with the 2011 Acer monitor, a drug lord Reyes is like, well, I need you to find them. End scene, basically.
Because they still have this chip, and then through this whole thing, this whole they decide, because they're all wanted, or at least Dom and Mia and Paul Walker's. Paul Walker's stopped being policeman.
Yes, we didn't specify that either.
No,
so he's not a cop.
Done for good. Finally.
Not an FBI agent.
Finally. I'm ready for the cops to just be legit villains,
Yeah.
And then it's, man, but then they bring in Ludacris and Tyrese and everybody to do this job because they realize they fucked up so bad. Their only way out of this is to steal all of this drug lord's money. Mm-hmm. Because then they can buy. It's like, they're going to get $11 million each, and they're like,
so, yeah, they were looking to steal $100 million was magic number.
Has that in cash.
Yeah, the return of the entire gang comes a little bit later, but I want to talk about Vince betraying Dom here just a little bit, since Vince did return to the movie.
Yeah.
So the chip is in that car that Mia drove off, and now it's sitting in a garage, that Vince or Dom or somebody owns.
I think it's a garage that Vince had, but it's large.
Of course,
I don't know how all these people on the run end up
having large warehouse garages,
have access to property.
So what happened was Vince was poking around the car, and he was looking for the computer chip because he was going to sell it back to Reyes.
Yeah,
and Dom obviously does not want that, and he gets into a scuffle with Vince. And I just wrote in all caps, "Look at our family now. Where's Letty?"
It's true. It's true. It's true. Yeah, and then Vince even says that to him. He's like, "Where's Letty?"
I know, that was shitty.
Where is Letty, though?
I know.
And again, more. This is where I was sold on the Vince thing, because I'm like, oh yeah, of course he was a shithead in the first movie.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised. In fact, I feel a little bit more at home.
Yeah.
And back home with these characters. His family still sucks.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he's kind of fulfilling his role as this character that we think he is.
Mm-hmm.
And I was happy. I was happy at this point in the movie.
Yeah. So at this point, not only do we have drug lord henchmen after the gang, we also have The Rock and the cops after that gang, which leads to our next big scene, which is the bullet rooftop chase scene.
What we didn't mention is that the cops are really mad now because those U.S. Marshals got killed at the train job.
Right.
And they think Dom did it. And they think they're all responsible because blah blah blah. And so now like the cops are pissed and they're sending The Rock, who was just like the guy that finds people.
Yeah, they specify that it's like he finds everybody. Yeah. He doesn't fail.
He's big and muscly and he's a good detective and blah blah. Like
he'll just kill you.
The Rock is just also a Mary Sue. Well, no, actually I'm wrong because he does have an arc in this movie. The Rock has one. Dom does not.
Yeah. Dom doesn't change.
Dom doesn't change. He's just like. He can't make facial expressions.
So the bullet hell rooftop chase scene.
Yes.
So Mia, Dom, Vince, I don't remember, and Paul Walker.
Well, isn't this is when
they climbed out of the garage because Reyes's men entered the garage and were just shooting at them, but they were running away. And then The Rock was looking for him in the same area. They
both show up at the same time.
And they heard the gunfire, so then they start going that direction.
Yeah.
And then I think it's not implied, but it looks like The Rock's just confused because there's Dom's gang isn't shooting at anybody. They're just running, and they're just running on rooftops, like jumping from rooftops, like, very shaky cam, like there's a lot going on.
It was kind
of
cool. I like this part because they're kind of, I don't know if they're in like the favelas. They're up in that hill where there's all those like shitty last little like shacks and shanties and stuff. And it's an interesting chasing because there's like just this maze of like cement stairways and there you can jump onto buildings and stairways and stuff and just hop. It's like sort of a parkour,
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So I really liked it. And eventually there's the part where Cop Lady catches Dom, but, he doesn't do anything.
Yeah, and you have that meet cute. You have their little meet cute.
Yeah, this is important because Dom and this cop are later going to bond over the fact that they have lost their spouses. So,
which I didn't even pick up on that until you said something like at the very end of the movie. I was like, oh!
Yeah. So Dom kind of being a Mary Sue, it's like they make like, extreme intense eye contact and like, she has like the doe like I'm afraid eyes. And Dom ends up dropping his cross necklace, which she keeps. So also important. Then we cut to Mia announces that she's pregnant finally. Like she just interrupts Paul Walker and she's just like, I'm pregnant.
Yeah. Which again, this is another part where I was just like, ugh, can we get past this?
And I wrote in all caps, family,
baby family.
Right. And this is that heart-to-heart scene that you mentioned earlier.
This part was fine. I was fine with this. These movies tend at some point get to hit these moments, and I enjoyed this.
Well, this in particular, it stood out against all the other like heart-to-heart scenes in the previous movie. I guess this felt a little more serious.
It's still not better than Han in Tokyo Drift.
No, it's not.
That's one of the most heartfelt moments in this entire franchise.
No, I agree.
Still.
I didn't. I'm
just putting my stake in this hill.
Han is in this movie too, and I was very happy about that because he's got to be one of my favorite characters.
He was a little bit more present than the last one for sure because he was only in it for like 5 fucking minutes.
I know, that was disappointing.
Come on. But they're talking about dad and baby stuff and whatever. That was cool. I don't remember what happens after that.
The gang reunites is what happens. So Dom and Paul Walker, they're in the garage and they're like, we got to get the gang back together for one last job.
Yeah,
for $100 million.
I loved hearing the one last job line in this movie. Like even like the movie ends knowing there's going to be another one.
Right.
There's like the audience by the time this movie's over is not like, is there going to be another one? Could there be? He said it's one last job, and like there's no question.
Yeah, so we're rounding up the whole gang. So we have like Tyrese Gibson shows up, Ludacris shows up, Han shows up. That one lady that was also, no, she was in the 4th movie. Wasn't that
Gal Gadot?
Yeah.
Yeah, she came back too, which I was like, oh, I forgot about her.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised because she was like kind of like on the bad guys. side in the last movie. But
nothing really happens to her though in that one. Like she's just kind of out of the movie.
I know. I also didn't know that like she could drive really well either, because they didn't really touch.
You
on
never
that
see
either.
it in that one. You never see it in that one. It's just implied because she has cars.
Correct. Yeah. Okay. Well, so there's a bunch of people back here, and the gang reunites, and they need to steal this money out of not a police station. It's like a military police station. So it's like serious business.
Hold on.
Oh, I forgot about. I don't want to glaze over the mechanicops here.
Well, no. So first, they break into the one place. They break into one of his drug dens, and they round everybody up there, and they just burn all the money.
I forgot about this. How could I forget?
So this is the start of it. So they go, they burn all the money, and they go, they do a thing that causes him to take all of his other money out of all of his other drug dens and move them to one location so they can steal it from there. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
And they and through a series of events, after they do this, they follow his money to like a police station. It's like the police headquarters. But the thing I was going to bring up, and I talked to you about this earlier today, that I had forgotten, I didn't even notice,
right,
is why. Why is there a fucking like 20 by 20 or 10 by 10 bank vault in this police station?
Reasons.
No. I refuse to accept.
No.
I feel the reason I'm mad about this is I didn't even notice. I didn't even think this movie had me so stupid.
I haven't been in, so many police stations to know whether or not they have giant bank vaults or not.
There's no police station. There's no police station in the world that has this fucking James Bond fucking comic book cartoon.
Okay, well, nobody has the comic
vault.
book one.
Surely
they have vaults.
You would keep the Ark of the Covenant in this fucking bank vault.
No, it's pretty serious. So, like, the way to get into this vault is, like, there's a code. Reyes is the only one who knows the code. So if, like, he dies or something, like, nobody's getting into this vault.
And it's a hand scanner.
So not only do they not know the code, but yeah, they need his handprint as well.
Yeah, and all of this, they're trying to figure this out. They order another safe.
Yeah, this gets good.
This is where the movie goes, fuck you, just accept it.
Yeah.
Just accept the shit that is happening in this movie.
Yeah.
They fucking get this giant crate and they open it up and it's the same safe that they have in the police station. Mm-hmm. Ninth wonder of the world, this police station with a bank vault.
Get those on Amazon Prime, I guess.
It's a bank vault inside the evidence locker. It's not I would have accepted it's the evidence locker, and they just, we're like, let's get a huge safe for the evidence locker. Haha. Mm-hmm. But no, it's inside. There's just stuff that is so super top secret evidence, but it's all this guy's money because the cops are all correct. And then they order another one because Ludacris is apparently an expert in safe cracking.
Yeah.
And they explain that by having him say the line, "I had another life before I knew you."
Yeah.
And they do it multiple times in this movie.
And he says things about the safe, like, oh yeah, she's a beaut, and then starts like rattling off all kinds of like specs about it, like knows exactly what this ridiculous safe is.
What I think is it's gonna be he used to build safes, or like that's what he did.
Or he used to like actually rob and like have to lockpick.
Well, I mean that probably happened later, but I'm just like he knows like he knows the build of this safe,
right?
Like he knows the specs and he appreciates it because he's like, oh, it's so beautiful, blah, blah. I just like that they gave Ludacris a character.
I did.
I'm not gonna complain.
No, I enjoyed all his like monologuing and stuff. He was like Ludacris was very fun to watch.
Most people were,
yeah.
Other than Vince, because who is that guy?
Yeah,
he's been in 2 movies, the first one and this one.
Mm-hmm.
But it was great though because they have to get his handprint. And do you remember how they get his handprint?
Of course I remember how
Is
they
there
get his
anything
handprint.
between that you want to cover? Because I think we need to cover how they get the handprint.
Well,
Because this is when I thought the movie thought I was a retard. This is when I thought the movie thought I was brain dead.
So, to gloss over this, meanwhile, back at the garage, The Rock and his cop gang are there trying to find the chip in the car. The chip was out there, not in the car.
Yeah.
And then you made me laugh a lot when you were like, "What are they, mechanic cops or like mechanic cops?"
Because they're
like you just made up a nice little portmanteau of
because The Rock is in this garage and they set up like a headquarters because they're scouring it for evidence. They don't have they have all this time to just stay in this one place and look at everything.
Correct.
And he's got these 2 cops, and he goes, "They're looking for something in here. Tear it all apart and look for something." And then, like, they have this car all torn apart. And okay, I would understand two guys can just pull a car apart, however you have to.
Right.
But then he goes, "We didn't find anything." He goes, "Well, put it all back together and see what's missing." Clever. But also these cops are like, oh, they're tired. But are they like? How would you do that?
They're mechanic cops.
That's what I asked. I was like, are they like special like mechanic cops? And I said mechanic cops.
Yes. So
and
that was
you had
thing.
a fit, and it was funny.
That was. And then we're looking at a bunch of stuff on a computer. We're looking at their faces. The Rock says, "Enhance it," and I thought that was great because he's like, "Enhance the image on the screen."
They even have the nerve to be like, "We can't go." The guy goes, "We can't go any further," and he goes, "Do this," blah, 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 blah. And then everybody's faces start to pop up.
Yeah.
And you suddenly, it's just by like one facial, one barely recognizable face. So go, "Now put it in the database and look for accomplices." And every single one of like the protagonists pops up, like just conveniently, and they're all like recent photos.
Yeah, and I guess it probably shows their location or something because I also wrote down gang is gonna get caught because so they know where they are or know what they're doing. One of the two, but not both. Is what I got.
They know that they are there to do something because at some point the rookie girl cop says something about how she's like, something's gonna go down. Like she seems to know for some reason or recognize somebody.
Yeah.
And then she knows that all of them here are gonna be doing something together.
Well, I mean, she also explains to The Rock that Reyes is a drug lord. Like you can't beat him. Like she's like, he owns all the cops. Like he owns like this town we live in, or and she's getting nervous, and I think she wants to show The Rock that it's like, you shouldn't like downplay how serious you are. Like the whole you're far away from the United States. You're in Brazil.
Yeah.
So.
Who does he work for also? What's the agency?
There's
an abbreviation and I didn't recognize it.
Yeah, it was. Oh, let me consult the Wikipedia page because I actually didn't write it down, but it is a special agency.
Because I was wondering too, like how he's able to be there, and they annihilate Brazil. Like everybody in this movie, like fucking everybody in Brazil dies.
Right. So he is a DSS agent, which stands for Diplomatic Security Service. So
international police.
Yeah, basically.
Jinx. And sorry, where were you?
So we're at the big heist in the police station right now. Excuse me. This is where they blow up the toilets. I'm sure you recall that scene.
Oh, was this when they were
RC
stealing
car?
Oh.
So remember it was Tyrese Gibson. He's pretending to be Paul Walker.
Yeah.
He's like, I have this evidence. So this is the beginning of the heist. So Tyrese Gibson walks into this station with just like a banker's box, and like we don't know what's in it. And he's talking to receptionist cop.
Nice try. Nice try. You're not going to get me on this one.
So he's talking to that, and he's like, I have this evidence to drop off. May I, can you escort me to
Yeah.
where to go?
Yeah,
and then the cop's like, fuck no, I'm not gonna take you into the station. Are you out of your mind? And he's like, oh, but I'm this guy. And then he holds up his badge to the glass, and then reception guy leans up to it and he's like, why does it say you're Caucasian?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I tan. So we just get into like little hijinks like that.
He pisses this guy off so bad. But then he just goes, okay, well, I'll just leave this here and you take it. And he just leaves the box.
And the cop takes it.
The cop just takes it. Like, he doesn't need any kind of signature, no kind of verification. He just takes it.
Like, he already implied that his, badge and ID are fake, but we're just gonna take this box.
What happens when somebody's ID is invalid, dear?
No, where is your due diligence?
It's like he was so hardcore that he just goes, huffs and puffs, and takes it and throws it in there.
So he happens to throw this mysterious banker's box into the same room as like the big scary vault. And what comes out of the box? A little RC car with a camera affixed to the top of it.
Which this is fun, but they're rolling around. They're looking at the safe. They're
getting a lay of the land here, and then they finally find the big safe. And this is where Ludacris kind of monologues about how beautiful the safe is to him, and like all the stuff in it, and how this is going to be really difficult to break into.
And then they just cut. They just cut away. And I'm like, what did they just leave that RC car in there?
Yes. Like, that's exactly what happened.
Nobody's gonna go in there and question and be like, why is this little RC car? It clearly fell out of this box, and it's got a fucking camera.
Also, the cop that like brought the box in did not. He was just like, your ID isn't valid. Fine, here, you can leave this here.
Yeah, okay, I mean, it puts it into the fucking evidence locker. It's just these police are just not, for as corrupt as they are, they're not organized well enough. Nobody's paying attention.
So yeah, we have a couple scenes, like a montage of like, Dom's gang. They're practicing drifting in this very tiny square garage, and they have these cameras set up that are a similar model to whatever cameras are in this area with
they have
to outrun the cameras, like these security
they have
cameras.
to drift through this area and get past the cameras in a certain amount of time.
So they're practicing in this garage, and this scene just comes back in and out as filler, but to me, I super liked watching it because there is not a ton of car racing in this film, as you notice. So we haven't there was
like one major race, and it's stupid,
which is actually good transition because this is the scene after the whole RC car scene,
because they realize they have to steal police cars to do this.
Right. Oh, we didn't talk about the blowing up the toilets though.
I mean, there's like the gross fake poop that comes out of the toilets was kind of nasty.
But yeah, so I mean, it is kind of clever though, because they have to clog this bathroom and destroy it so badly because the one wall in the bathroom leads to like the electronics to where the safe is what happened.
Well, yeah, they get into the wall. They pretend to be plumbers, and they go in and after they blow the shit up, they pretend to be the plumbers. They go in and fix it, and they cut into the wall, and they just place like a little transmitter thing, like an antenna and lights. So I don't know what it was that was supposed to be doing, but yeah,
I don't know either. But the reception guy was in the bathroom when all the shit exploded out of the toilet.
Oh, I didn't realize that was the
him.
Same guy.
Yeah, that was him. So he was having a bad day.
Man. Yeah, that's super funny. I didn't realize it was the same guy. Yeah. That makes more sense now because I was kind of like, this is like super goofy scene. This is like slightly off character, for the rest of the movie. Like blowing people off toilets.
Again, it's like Italian Job hijinks,
I enjoy it though. I will still watch this kind of movie.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, going back to the question of how are we going to get Reyes's handprint, because that scene is coming up here.
Mm-hmm. It's so stupid. This is the stupidest thing about this fucking movie.
There's I don't even remember what Gal Gadot's character's name is.
It doesn't matter.
But
it doesn't.
Anyway,
she's Gal Gadot.
Yeah. So she and Han, I mean, they kind of have a thing for each other. They're not an item yet, but they have a thing, and they're just hanging around each other. They go to this like super fancy schmancy like beach resort, and they're just hanging out, and like generic boss man Reyes is there just hanging out on the beach with henchmen.
It's like 7 guys in suits like standing around him
on this 90-degree beach.
Yeah, it's really weird.
It's
like a weird patio. I don't know what's supposed to be.
And so so Han and Gal Gadot are just kind of scoping the area, and Han's griping that like, how are we gonna get like around these people? There's no way that we can get his handprint, like, let alone his hand. Because initially I thought, like, oh, they're going to cut off his goddamn hand and bring it back. But that was not the case. It's so much dumber. So Gal Gadot says to Han, you should, like, don't let a man do a woman's job or something like that.
Now I know why you wanted. Yeah. Oh my God.
Now I wanted what?
Now I know what you were leading to.
Yeah.
I forgot about this. This was so
because you
annoying.
had mentioned it earlier, and I wanted to save it. For
okay. I'm sorry. Keep going. I didn't mean to derail you.
So she just, waltzes up, in the tiniest bikini you've ever seen in your entire life.
What did she say?
She said, don't send a man to do a woman's job. So we all know what's coming here.
Yes.
So she goes up to Reyes, and then she kind of gets, super close to him, is sitting on the arm of his chair, like fawning at him. Like, it's really gross.
It's all in like slow motion.
And Han is just like eating like tortilla chips, like,
he's always snacking.
He's just snacking, and he's just like, yeah, that's fine.
Is he supposed to be like admiring it?
Yes, he's supposed to, because he, like, you can tell he's, like, ogling her as she's, like, walking away, because it's, like, slow motion.
She's hot. She knows it.
Exactly.
Like, sophisticated philosophical Han.
So, and then this scene abruptly ends, so then you're like, well, how'd they get the goddamn handprint?
No, you see him. No, you see it. You see him touch her ass. That's what happens.
I didn't even see that.
Yeah, it happens. He's watching it happen, and that's when I was saying, I was like, what? I'm like, are they going to try and take his handprint off of her, like, bikini?
Yeah, they are.
And that's literally what they do.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, because he's like, grabs your ass, and it's like, she's letting it happen. And, like, I think that's also part of what he's, like, reacting. He's realizing what she's doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm realizing what she's doing. I'm like, why is this movie think I'm so stupid that you think you can get like a handprint
on a wet bikini
off of like she's not even wet. They've been walking around like on the beach like with towels and stuff.
No, they were just really shiny. So I couldn't tell.
It's just like it still doesn't make sense. Mm-hmm. I was so annoyed. I was so mad.
So they get his handprint on the bikini bottoms is what happens. And then this is where kind of my notes start to fall off because the action is like really picking up and it got very hard to, turn away from the television and write notes because this was definitely like the brain dead action stuff I was looking for in the previous films that wasn't there.
Yeah, it never hit this point with the last one. It wanted to, but it never did.
Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to jump to where... I guess, like, the latter half of the heist here, and the Vin Diesel and The Rock stare down and fight each other.
There's at some point The Rock and Vin Diesel fight, and this happens right after we're joking about them, having a stare down, and they're both the same height.
Yeah,
which is hilarious.
Because I had to look it up.
Yeah,
because I'm like, there's no way that they're the same height. So The Rock is 6'5". Vin Diesel is 5'11", although other sources on the internet said he's between 5'11" and 6'0", so he's still not 6 feet tall. Okay, he's 5'11".
That's still like not what The Rock is.
Yeah, exactly. The Rock has a whole 5 inches.
And they want you to think that they are definitely the same height, and they are not.
Yeah, so I mean, they're like eye to eye staring down.
They have a fight. And Vin Diesel kind of beats The Rock up, which is also funny.
Mm-hmm.
And through a certain more events that just kind of happen,
mm-hmm.
The Rock joins them.
Yeah,
and he's like, "I'm going to help you guys take this guy down," because he realized everybody has a reason to take down this guy, and even though he's not the reason, the Reyes is not the reason The Rock is there. Right?
He's there because of Dom.
They're looking for Dom.
But then I think
like he just sees what's happening. He sees what's going on that this guy is responsible for, I suppose.
Well, it has to do with the computer chip because the computer chip is the main
It
issue.
has like all of his financial networks information on it.
And I think because of that chip, and The Rock is after it also for another reason that I can't remember or didn't write down, that they have to team up to kill Radius.
Or get the chip and whatever happens.
Basically,
because it's another favorite part of the movie for me. But let's just get to the they do this heist. They do like a different, like dumbed down version of the original heist they were gonna do, right? Because they change it last minute.
Correct.
And it's just The Rock in that giant fucking SUV thing that he's driving around throughout the whole movie, which is a real car. Did you look it up? Did you ever find out what that was?
No, I didn't look it up. I just wrote a bunch of notes because there was the nice SUV, the giant SUV cop cars, and then there was like a Suburban.
Yeah. Well, they so just needed to fill a spot.
And every single time it came up, I was like, the cop Suburban.
Yeah, he's kind of the wimp out of
the federal government Suburban. Yay!
At least I have air conditioning.
And I want to specify, it wasn't like a black Suburban with like tinted windows. It was like, Suburban in
like a 2002
in like Iowa. It's rusting out. Okay.
And like so The Rock, so the whole plan is just The Rock takes this giant SUV thing, which I'm pretty sure this thing can drive through walls like that.
Oh, definitely.
It's this is a real thing that can happen.
Well, you stated it was the biggest SUV that a consumer can actually buy.
Yeah, a civilian can buy. Like, okay. Yeah, because they show it on Top Gear. It was on Top Gear in like 2016, so it's kind of old by this point in the movie.
Right.
But it is a thing, and it can fucking blast through walls.
Yeah.
And it has leather seats, and it's super fucking nice on the inside. Has holes in the doors for guns to point out.
I didn't even see that.
Yeah, and those are actually there, like in the regular version.
Okay.
Like that thing is just gray, but it's not different than what it is in real life. It can drive over cars like it does in this movie. So it's like that's the realest thing about this movie is everything to do with that thing.
That's really cool.
So when they blast it through the side of the evidence room, like I was like, oh wow, that's actually a real thing.
I mean, that probably actually
may or may
happened.
not have been like a legit wall, like it's supposed to be, but and they do that, and then they drive these two. They were Chargers.
Yes.
Those Chargers, and they just. I had shut my brain off at this point in the movie, and they just hook each of these Chargers to opposite sides of the safe.
Yeah, so they are daisy chained together to this vault that they're dragging behind them.
Yeah. This entire vault that probably weighs like 10 tons. I don't know. Right? I mean, does that seem this thing and they just yank it out like it just slides out.
Yeah, I'm just quiet cuz like I know that it said something on the Wikipedia page about this, so
like about what?
About like the vault scene.
Really?
Yeah, because how they really did want to make it work with, two vehicles.
Right.
But it was too heavy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they're just dragging it.
They are, and there's sparks flying everywhere. I did read, it was somewhere on here, but the guy who was like filming like this chase scene, he was like in like a cage, like in a car almost. If you probably understand what I'm talking about.
Oh no, I know exactly. Yeah. And I know why. I can tell you why.
Well, because there was a lot of shots, if you remember, that were like the side of the vault or like they were directly behind them, and the sparks were on the ground.
Yeah.
Which actually weren't supposed to happen, or they didn't consider like dragging like a bazillion ton metal object on asphalt might make sparks because the cameraman half the time like almost got hurt. Just being in this cage, and they went through like so many different cars just for the filming alone, not like the stunts for how dangerous it was.
That I would wonder if it had something to do with too. Was it Transformers, the third one? Dark Dark Side of the Moon.
Okay.
That's not what it is. It's something like Dark of the Moon. There was a stunt that an extra who was on like this. Was she an extra on a camera truck or on? Somehow, like, had like half her face like basically ripped off.
Oh my god!
From like these parts like flying off of this wreck.
Oh my god!
You'd have to look it up. I don't remember the details, but it's something like her. She will never work again.
No,
like a job.
That's awful.
Like but a bunch of shit happened because of that, and I would bet that had something to do with it. You know, because there's a lot of crazy stunts in this one. Finally, we have ascended to just boneheaded. Okay, go ahead. You have something. So
yeah, I do. So I did find some info about the vault scene. It was 3.6 tons. It was driven by a stunt driver. He had to wear a temperature-controlled suit to compensate for the temperatures that could exceed 100 degrees.
Wait, he's inside?
That's what it looks like.
He's inside the vault?
It was connected by cables and dragged through the streets of San Juan by 2 stunt Dodge Chargers.
Wow.
So that was actually...
So 3 tons.
Yeah, 3 tons.
Holy shit.
They not deleted. I guess they didn't include a scene that they wanted to do where the vault was hanging over the bridge. You remember it's just sitting there? They wanted to do it where it was hanging, but the Chargers couldn't support the weight of it. Like,
I believe it.
Yeah, so over 200 vehicles were destroyed by the vault during filming. 200.
Fucking yeah, I mean, there's no CGI cars in this movie.
No, do you
beyond
want
ones
some,
that are probably just impossible.
Here's some raw numbers to enter, like just to give you the scope of like the production. In total, employed 236 technicians, 13,145 extras, generated 16,824 room nights at hotels, contributing $27 million to the Puerto Rican community when they filmed part of this in Puerto Rico.
Fuck yeah. Action.
Yeah, like, and that's just like, I just have no words. That's a lot. So
13,000 people. Extras.
Well, and the other thing is over 200 vehicles were destroyed by the vault during filming. Just the vault. It's just the vault.
It fucking pancakes some shit.
No, this went on for forever. It was great.
I love it.
Don't get me on.
No. It was like so many times in movies like this, right? They show these are clips, these are highlights from the trailer, you know, you'll see it. And you go and you see the movie based on this wild ass fucking thing. You know the movie is going to climax with this thing you've seen snippets of in the trailer. And like, what the fuck is that? You know? And then you go and see the movie and you realize that you have seen the best parts of this climax of this movie in the trailer already. But this one goes on for so long that it just like it's so entertaining. Like, it felt like I hadn't seen it at all.
Right.
You know?
And I was just reading about the steel cage part. A Subaru Impreza with a steel cage built around it allowed for tracking shots. And the guy that was filming the vault scene collided with the vault several times.
Jesus Christ.
That would have been terrifying. And they built 6 versions of this vault for specific uses. So one for the truck, one for destroying streetcars, one was reinforced. That was the 4-wheel self-drive vehicle, that was connected to a 30-foot cables and then dragged. So I think you're right about the vault being like drivable in some sense.
Well,
at least one of them was.
They had to be able to like steer it around because they can't rely on just like centrifugal force controlling that. It's 3.5 tons or 3.2.
I know,
tons.
it's just, you know, and you the listeners are just like this all intense. All these numbers, all these things that were destroyed.
Yeah.
So
it's great. It's totally worth your attention, at least for this part of the movie.
Yeah, just look up Fast 5 vault scene.
It's just, I mean, these action scenes are well done, and action scenes are not easy to film, you know, any easier to do anything else. I can appreciate it, and it was fun. It's interesting. There's a lot of cool fucking gags with the safe. They do so many different things with it. It starts to tumble. As they're like dragging it. It's like like, and you're like, oh my god, what's it gonna do next? It becomes a character.
Yeah.
The safe.
Yeah, I have in my notes here, like, as it like hit so many cars, I was just like, oops, sorry, whoopsie. Hot girls hit the curb, whoopsie.
Man, I just like. It's fun. It's a fun last part of the movie, and it's that classic like good guys and like it's like three parties chasing each other.
Like we haven't gotten to the chitty chitty bang bang part yet.
Well, that's they get to that. The climax of the movie is on this. What would you call it? Over the water highway.
It's a bridge. That's what a bridge is. It goes over the water and connects.
You're right. Well, it's just really long. It's like the Key West bridge, but
kind of like that. I don't know
if there was a different name for it, But and he's being chased. It's Dom ends up.
Well, he stays behind and Paul Walker drives off to escape. So now it's just
he's the only one pulling
attached to the safe at this point.
Of course, and. That's
you have to nos it up.
That's right. I forgot. In this whole movie, I was thinking like, there's no nos because there's not really any racing. They race police cars. I don't even want to fucking talk about that part, but they race the fucking police cars, and it's so cheesy and dumb. And there's nobody else on the road in Rio at night.
No,
This is fucking South America. Like, like please don't. I'm not stupid, but nos is nowhere to be found until in the movie. I loved it that they did it like this too, because it's like Dom opens up a compartment because he's the only one pulling the safe down this highway, and he just fucking starts flipping switches.
Yeah,
and he's like nos after nos after
and
nos.
He's just destroying car after car.
Oh yeah, because he's fucking whipping this fucking safe around and just like it's was great. So good. I was rooting for the movie.
Yeah, that scene was so much fun, and I thought for sure, and this didn't happen, I thought for sure that he was like actually going to like fly in the air or something, because all this just got ridiculous. That's why I said chitty chitty bang bang moment. Like, he's like, is he gonna fly now?
He hits like the third or fourth nos, and he starts doing like a wheelie.
Yeah,
because he's like he's going so fucking hard, and he's just like he's able to pull this safe on his own because of the nos, and he like he's taken like. He does like a clothesline to that one car, and it like slices the roof off.
Yeah,
it's just every wreck was a character. Finally, the movie was like, here's car wrecks for the sake of car wrecks.
Yeah, this was more about car wrecks than like
car racing. I miss that from like the late '90s like action like Jerry Bruckheimer like action movies like Con Air and like The Rock and shit.
Yeah.
Like where it's like ooh like spectacle. But it's not so absurd, and this was, I know this does get absurd, but it was just spectacle, and it felt good on my eyes, and it felt good on my brain.
I like putting it that way. It was a spectacle.
Yeah, and it is watching Vin Diesel's like vanity. It's his vanity project now. It's really become that at this point.
Right.
He's
But they're having fun.
Having fun, man, because he starts doing a wheelie, and then I don't remember what happens after he starts doing the wheelie, because that's like a titular moment.
Yeah, so The Rock eventually shows up and he just shoots Reyes, because Reyes he doesn't even give a shit.
No. Well, okay. So back up a little bit. It's he spins around and he starts heading towards them.
Right.
And he's able to fling the safe at the one car and then jump out of his car at the perfect time while the safe flings his car off into Reyes's oncoming car and smushes him in the car, and it's great. It's great, and then The Rock pulls up and Reyes is like crawling out of his car, and he's like, "Help me!" And The Rock just walks by and then shoots him.
Yeah,
and it's so fun.
We were like,
yeah, Fuck you. That's all this movie's just fuck you.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh.
I mean, this is where I quit taking notes because I was just like, kind of fixated on what was going on.
I quit taking notes after the first act of the movie.
I know.
Well, my thing was, I wasn't really confused at all.
Right.
There was a few moments in the beginning because I thought the beginning of the movie was a little clunky. Vin Diesel doesn't get like a cool enough introduction back. It's weird that they did the prison break and then cut from that to side story, B story, and then Vin Diesel's not back, for another 15 minutes. Let's start looking at Paul Walker and Mia finding out she's pregnant. I don't care that Mia's pregnant. The only thing Mia's pregnancy brought to this movie was Vin Diesel going, "Oh, never mind. I'll help you guys.
Yeah,
we'll stick together because it's our first family moment."
Right.
In this movie we get.
Right. So, and yeah, there was, they did mention the whole like family thing, a couple times, and we kind of glossed over Vince dying as well and just leaving his dead body in the garage. I'm glad
because I don't care. Oh, okay, but that we do have to mention that because
that's kind of weird.
You cackled at the scene. Vince gets shot. Vince comes back and he's accepted back, and you think he's gonna fuck them over again, and he doesn't, and instead he dies. And the movie wants you to like feel bad.
Well, because he sacrificed himself so Mia could live was just the other thing.
In a way, you don't see him get shot. It's just like a scuffle. We got to jump into this car and drive away, and they're like, "Oh, we got away," and Vince is like, "No, I got shot," and then he's dead in like 2 minutes.
Yeah, and he's just under like a sheet in this like. Garage where we fix cars.
It's a shroud.
He's under
the shroud of Turin.
He's under a funeral shroud. Well, my apologies. And Dom is like saying a prayer.
That was the shot. Is this? They're zooming in to Dom, looking over Vince on this table covered in a shroud, and there's like light.
Yeah.
In the ceiling coming down on Vin Diesel, and there's like he's like in this Christ-like pose.
Yeah, yeah, it's so weird. And I forgot about the Christ-like
pose. It's
pose.
So weird, and I just like,
yeah,
I just imagine Vin Diesel going, "You put a little more light on me."
Yeah,
just turn it up, and
I think that's you.
Is it me?
Well. BRB real quick.
We're just gonna have to
stop it for now.
I just don't know why it's doing that. Oh. Okay, just hold it up there for now, and I'll edit this.
Okay. Can you hear me? I can't hear myself. Hello? I can't hear myself.
Oh, wow, yeah.
I can't at all.
I can't hear you either.
Hello? I can't hear myself. Check, 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 check. Check. Hello. Hello. Well, that's because I was right here.
I'll edit to this point.
Okay. I really want to finish this.
Well, no, yeah, I mean, we can.
It's just buzzing really bad.
I know, I don't know what to do about it.
Can you edit that part?
I mean, I can cut all this stuff out to, where we come back in. But I can't do anything about the buzzing. It might just be the cable.
It doesn't. There's a part of it that doesn't like being on the ground.
Maybe it doesn't.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Because I can't hear me at all. Or I'm just really quiet, I guess. Yeah, see, that's just too loud. I can just talk a little louder then.
Yeah.
For now.
I guess.
All right. And action?
Okay. One of my microphones all fucked up. So anyways, so
we're back, sorry.
let's just get to
the ending.
Well, yeah, Reyes is dead. And what? I don't even remember.
Well, he died, and everybody. I don't quite remember either. Because everybody was supposed to get like $10 million. Yes, I do remember now. It's just shots of where everybody is.
Oh
afterwards.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and everybody's doing all the things that they said they were gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, yeah. But then, I don't even remember. That's just so hazy. I don't remember what Paul Walker does.
I mean, he's with Mia, and Mia has a visible baby bump now.
Oh,
and they're
that's
rich,
right.
And
Yeah,
they're
she's
doing
pregnant.
stuff, and everybody's family, and we end on family.
Family. But then there's an end credit scene.
That's right.
Which I'm actually pretty excited about, and I was excited that there was one.
Why don't you talk about it then? Because I can't remember it.
Well, because I'll just do it quick. It's just fucking The Rock sitting at his fucking desk in his suit, and he's like, they give him a file, and they're like, "You want to look at this?" And he looks at it. He's like, I don't care about this. He's like, I don't care about this. And they're like, no, look at it again. And there's a security camera footage, like a picture of Letty.
Right.
And the implication is that she's alive because they go,
right.
You believe in ghosts? And I was like, what?
Yeah.
What?
So hopefully we get to see Letty again. That would be fun.
I'm in. I'm in now. Like, I'm in. I know it's gonna be. I know they're gonna be ridiculous, and I know there's gonna be stupid shit. There's always gonna be stupid shit. I know what these movies are, but I don't know. I'm losing more sight of why I wanted to do this. It's become fun.
Yeah, I'm just here having fun. I don't have any aims at all.
It's just it's funny to watch these develop, and
we saw a decade in a month
already.
If you watch them together all at once, it just does not make sense. Based on how far apart they're spaced, or how far apart they were released, it does make sense. However,
I'm just ready. I'm ready for some shit to go down finally.
Right, well, let's get some closing thoughts here. Did you want to start with your grading? Where would you place it alongside the previous 4 films
What
we
did
watched?
I didn't even write my letter grade.
You gave
down
it a B minus, I believe, because remember we were like, oh, I gave it a B flat. B flat.
What did I
A
give?
sharp.
I gave. Oh, I know. I gave Tokyo Drift a B plus. Okay. So first of all,
Well, I mean, you can rescind that.
I'm going to. I have to change my grading for Tokyo Drift. I have to take that down to like a B minus at least, at the most a B minus. After I'm at this point now, which I knew was going to happen. I would give. I don't want to give it an A because there's still a lot of dumb, idiotic shit going on in this, and it is. So I would give this one a B plus, and I think it'll probably stay there.
Right. Yeah.
I would watch again, and can because we own a kind of cruddy, grody copy of it from Goodwill.
Precisely. So.
Well, you cleaned it up. It looks good now.
I did. Sanitize it a little bit, but
I am more excited now to watch the other movies than I have been.
Me too.
Fast and Furious was garbage compared to this. Like, holy shit.
Like the fourth one?
Yeah, the one we watched before this.
Yeah, I agree. That they definitely wanted the fourth film to be what this film was. For sure. So I actually give this film a pretty good grade considering that there was no street racing in it.
Not a big deal.
At all.
Not a big deal for me.
At
Actually
all.
happy with it. Actually happy that there's
no street racing.
Well, there is, but they race the cop cars and it's really lame.
And it was dumb.
Yeah.
That part was dumb. That being said, it's I can't grade it the same way as Tokyo Drift, but I kind of have to because
why would you not?
These are two different animals, but they're the same
it's all
series.
in the same place, man.
Honestly, this gets the highest rating from me so far.
Really?
Yeah.
What's that?
So I would give it a good B plus. Second place for me would probably be Tokyo Drift still. So in terms of like the best two films that we have viewed so far. So
yeah. That might be the case for me too. I mean, in ratings wise, Tokyo Drift is probably my highest rating.
Because what happened for me with Fast 5 was usually I go to like Wikipedia or IMDb and I try and look up, my fun facts and whatnot, like what was in theaters. And I was reading a little bit about the production and how they wanted this film to start steering away from car culture, and street racing and being exclusively about that. Even though the other films were not exclusively about that, but
they weren't.
But okay. But we'll let that lie.
You could argue that the first movie and Too Fast, street racing is still kind of like the heart of it. It very much drives the soul of our protagonists.
It does, and that's a very valid point.
I think this movie is where that's done with. Because there was no race for a job interview.
There wasn't.
There was no really race to settle anything. They had a race out of nostalgia.
Yeah.
But that's it. And that I can appreciate, but it was lame and I was bored and I was like, this fucking capacity to get to some fucking criminal shit.
Well, yeah, that, and if you have all these explosions in the film, like, the street racing just pales in comparison to the other action, too. So that's where it definitely, was wedged in, and it was just pandering to, people that like Tokyo Drift better.
Yeah.
So.
Us.
Do you like Tokyo Drift better than this one, or no?
No. That's a B minus now. No, I don't. That's Tokyo Drift is probably still my second favorite, next to this. I would say after because things are gonna shift around now. Once we start watching these ones that are a little bit better, and have more closer narrative tied in together.
Yeah.
It'll move around as a whole because at the end of this I'll have a final thought on all of it, obviously.
Same.
And a final grade for everything, I suppose. Who knows what we'll decide to do at that point.
Yeah, I really enjoyed like reuniting like all the different characters we've seen.
They were characters that I liked. I like Tyrese, I like Ludacris, and I love Han.
Yeah, all the characters that are like kind of like secondary to the main characters have been, I think they've been stellar in every single film. All things considered, you know,
for what these movies
are. But in the fifth film, they especially honed in on like the performance, because the acting in this was significantly better than anything we've seen so far.
What I'm thinking now, until we get to Hobbs and Shaw, because Hobbs and Shaw is a little bit more, its story is a little bit more, I don't know, it's not as crazy. But like from here on out, these stories are going to get so out there.
Yeah, I can't wait.
I don't know a ton of details.
I'm looking forward to it.
This is probably the last one that is even somewhat grounded, you know.
Right, and I thought I was going to be disappointed seeing this, but I was pleasantly surprised.
You were ready to shit on it right when it started.
Yes,
I remember you saying something.
I was. I'm not going to lie, but I calmed down. Like, let's just go into it.
It didn't take long. It didn't take long.
No, it didn't. I'm not. You're right.
It didn't take long. I mean, if anything, I was making fun of it right away when they're like in the desert and they're riding in those supercars alongside this train.
Right.
And they're not disintegrating into a billion pieces.
Yeah.
You know, there's stuff like that, but I can goof on it, but I'm still enjoying the train scene's cool. All the chase scenes, everything in this movie was fun to watch.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And does seem like it's made by people that like to make these kind of movies. All the actors are fine. I still like Paul Walker. I could really give a fuck less about Mia. She's so boring. That's why I'm excited for Letty to come back and be a fun girl character. Mia's like she can kind of drive, but they don't really have her do a ton.
Yeah, she was doing all the computer stuff.
That's right. You said she was Hacker Man.
Mia was Hacker Man for a little bit and assisting them in finding like routes to like get away from the cops.
She spent like 4 hours in one day in front of a camera that's on like a dolly.
Yep.
That just circles around her for hours, saying lines by herself.
Yeah. So I mean, this film, I probably would put this on in the background if I'm like doing something, just kind of like what I said for Tokyo Drift. Something I would pick out and watch on a Saturday. No, this is an acceptable background film,
this is, I mean, I would and I will watch this again. I will put this on in the background when I'm looking at band shirts on my computer.
Yeah.
While you're working.
Yeah.
I mean, but it will be, it's an easy, every now and then I do need to just put something on that is just like,
Yeah, this is a very good, shut your brain off. You just want to watch shit explode. You just want to watch action that, suspend, your disbelief for
as best you can.
As best you can, because it's just ridiculous. It's not Looney Tunes ridiculous like the fourth film was. It's just like you want over the top and like,
Well, it's like it is not trying to sell you or change your opinion on anything. It is just a film to entertain.
Correct.
And remember that it is an film.
It is an film of all time.
Of all time. And I am definitely somebody that likes to pick things apart and be like, blah, 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 blah. And there's a lot of that in this movie. But I also like to ignore it, because Armageddon may be my favorite movie of all time. So,
well, I think that sums up my thoughts.
Yeah.
So, I'm also sleepy and I want to watch some Iron Chef. I gotta get back to finding the Beijing episode.
Emily has a special project coming up that we are working that she is working on, and I fully support in a future episode.
Lyndon is helping too, so he has to sit here and watch Iron Chef clips from Pan-Asian public access stations with me.
I enjoy YouTube archaeology just the same as you.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be doing it with anybody else. So, anyways, that's gonna be it for this one, and we'll be back with Fast 6. Is that what it is?
I think that's the title.
Really? It's just Fast 6? Or is it Fast and Furious 6?
You know, it probably has 3 different titles. So we will return with the 6th film, and hopefully my mic cable won't shit out like it has right now. Yeah. So apologies about that.
Better do something about that.
We'll get more than a $50 cable, maybe.
They're so expensive.
So thank you for listening. We both greatly appreciate it, and we look forward to...
Subscribe and follow and do all that bullshit.
We look forward to posting about the 6th movie
Oh my
soon.
God, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Okay.
Have a wonderful night, day,
Bye.
morning, whatever. Bye.
Bye-bye.